Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Codcast. Yes, we're back. It's Andrew Snaith here, joined by Paul Connolly and Liam Ryder from the Whitby Town media team. Finally, we've got some football in the offing, gentlemen. It's been over 2 weeks since the Blues strapped the boots on and went out there in the NPL Premier. It's another tough one though, Paul. A long trip down to the West Midlands against one of the title challengers.
Yeah, it certainly isn't an easy reintroduction, is it, after going to Whitby Town? Previous game, obviously they went top of the table that evening. So yeah, another very tough away game for Whitby, one of the longest ones of the season. And the first time down to Hensford for a good few years. It's a place we haven't been for a while. But it will be a good setup. It's obviously going to be a very good pitch. I think a £250,000 pitch that we'll be playing on. And we're going to be playing against a very strong opposition. But obviously, it's one of those, isn't it? It's what happened on the afternoon, and there's something to take heart from the fact that we beat them in the previous game. But I feel this will be an even tougher proposition than the one in which we beat them earlier in the season at the Tom Hart Express Stadium.
Would you go along with that, Liam?
Yeah, I mean, it seems that way, doesn't it? And I think the strange thing is that, you look at our home form and how poor it sort of has been when you look at things, yet they're one of the teams we've been able to beat, and you kind of think, well, if we can beat them at home, then, we've got a chance away. That's our form seems a lot better on the road, typically. I mean, I referenced it with Nathan McGinley, who we'll hear from later on, but, in theory, it's a very similar match to our last one against Hebden, where, this time it's Hensford now that are bidding to try and go top of the league, albeit without the game in hand this time as such. But, like Paul said there, it's going to be a much better surface for us to play on. It'll probably suit us a bit better, at least in an attacking sense. We like to try and get the ball down and play a bit. But yeah, it will be one of the toughest games of the season, if not the toughest. And I think really everyone, particularly defensively, midfield, and even attack, we've just got to be on it all across the pitch, because if we get a chance, we're going to have to take it, because I don't think we'll get many. So yeah, just one of those matches where we need absolutely everybody at 100%, and hopefully this few weeks of rest, maybe that can sort of help us out on that front.
Indeed, and as Liam mentioned, he spoke to what might well be a very busy man on Saturday if he plays defender Nathan McGinley.
Well, Guinness, first of all, a bit of a disruptive last couple of weeks, really. No matches in over 2 weeks now, but going on to that game at Hensford, what would you say the morale's like amongst the squad? Obviously, the league positions, dropped a bit as you'd expect with the games in hand now, but how are things going in terms of the squad at the moment?
Yeah, like you said, obviously we haven't really had many games as of late. With no game scheduled at the weekend, and we've had a couple of called off and things like that. But yeah, the boys are happy. Obviously, we know we can improve on the pitch and pick up a few better results. But the boys are happy. We're training well, and everyone's just been working hard on the training pitch, and we're looking forward to Saturday, really.
Yeah, and how have you found it as well? You've sort of been in and out of the side with a couple of injuries at the moment. Do you feel that perhaps the break's been beneficial for you just to try and get yourself back towards 100%?
Yeah, obviously it was kind of had a few games, kind of first ones back from being out a while, which it's hard work really getting back up to full fitness and match fitness. You can train all you want, but you need the games, and it does take a couple of games to kind of get back into it and get that match fitness. But it's been good to just have a couple of weeks training and doing as much fitness there as possible, and then hopefully moving forward, coming to Saturday, we'll get the result. Yeah,
and I guess as well now with the games in hand that are mounting up, you kind of feel that the squad's really going to need to be utilised. So really a lot of emphasis on in that centre half position, yourself, Frankie, and Nella, all just trying your best to keep yourselves in fitness, because you are going to be called upon.
Yeah, like you said, with a lot of games coming up, the squad's going to be needed. We've got a brilliant squad. You feel like whoever comes on the pitch from the bench and things, it'll always benefit the team. That's one thing I've noticed this season. The squad is brilliant. No matter what the starting 11 is, there's no weaknesses there. So yeah, like you said, it's just about keeping fit, and whether that's a bit of rotation, with the starting 11 and trying to bash out as many games as possible. It's really important. So Hosel's in good stead moving forward, really.
Yeah, and then just looking at the game against Hensford, in a way very similar to the last one we played at Hebburn in terms of, the carrot for them to potentially go top of the league. I'm sure this one, though, be a much bigger crowd, a much better service as well, which you'd like to think would hopefully suit our style of play.
Yeah, hopefully, to be fair. Obviously, the Hebburn game was a couple of weeks ago now, and it wasn't the best of results. But like you said, I think the better pitch and things kind of suit us a bit better as a team. So hopefully Saturday will be a better result, and I think all the lads are looking forward to it. Like you said, the crowd will be quite big. So yeah, the boys are excited, to be fair.
Yeah, and as much as they're, especially at home, I think they've only lost once all season. You've got to take heart from the fact that we did beat them in a reverse fixture. Obviously, different circumstances. Tuesday night at the Turnbull for that one, but you've got to try and take a bit of that sort of know-how and that confidence into the game, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone knows that they're a great side, and they're up there for a reason. But we've got to take belief, from what we've done in the return fixture, and realise we're a very good side. So we've got to go into the game with a lot of confidence and just do what we can do. Really, they're a great side, but so are we.
Yeah, and then just finally, I think I know what the answer's probably going to be to this already, but in terms of the league table, I know how tight it is that a few results in your favour you can really climb up, and a few results against you drop down. But I guess as a squad, you're probably not looking at the table too much, because some people may look it's concerning, but I guess you've got to try and just utilise these games in hand now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, the table's there really. Tells you all you need to know. You win a couple of games and you're right back in it, and you lose a couple and you start looking behind you. But that's just part and parcel, really. We just know we're going to Saturday and hopefully get the 3 points.
That's Nathan McGinley speaking to Liam a little bit earlier on. Paul, as Liam mentioned there, our away record's very good or pretty decent. We've had some good wins against sides in that top 5 or 6, including Hensford at home. The surface is a decent one, and Whitby quite like playing on the break against sides that might leave a gap or two at the back. Should we be maybe a little bit more optimistic going into the weekend clash?
It's one of those. You'd always hope that there is cause for optimism. That's certainly the way I look at it. Anyway, I would like to think there is cause for optimism. I'm sure that there will be, like Liam mentioned. It will be a good surface to go there and play on. But look, it's Hensford's surface, and they're going to be very adept to playing on it. They're going to be very much used to the surface as it is, and yeah, we have tended to be okay away from home. It's one of those, you sort of look at the home form and the away form. We've played 13 at home and got 17 points. I think we've played 12 away and got 14 points. So we're pretty, obviously, if we win that game on Saturday, I think we'll be about on par in that respect. But I do feel the performances on the whole have certainly been better away from home. I feel a little bit more confident in us away from home for some reason. I don't know why it is that the last few years, many years, to be honest, we've struggled a little bit at home. But I guess away from home, the pressure's not quite on you. We see it a lot at the Torbay Express Stadium as well. And I think this is perhaps how it works a little bit, or certainly to my sort of thinking is how it works, is that because that pressure's off, teams tend to go at you more. They tend to actually open up a little bit more than they would do at home. And while they might soak up a bit of pressure, they do tend to hit teams on the break, which is something that we've been certainly good at away from home. So I think that's probably where that sort of comes into it. Because if you look across the teams in the division, there are a lot of teams that certainly are matching their home form, if not better in it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I do think it suits Whitby to have the pressure off in terms of setting the pace, and I do think we have players who can really take advantage if the gaps are there. So very interested to see. Liam, I understand there are seats available on the supporters coach to go down to what is one of the best grounds in the league.
Yeah, I mean it's a long trip, but I've never actually been myself yet, so looking forward to that one. Another one to tick off. Not that I'm a ground hopper or anything. But yeah, there's a few seats left on the coach. It's sold sort of surprisingly well, really, I think, looking at it so far. Hopefully get a few more on there. But yeah, I mean, from the club's point of view, these trips, we've got Hensford, of course, on Saturday and Rushall next month, being so close together, it's a bit of a crippler, really, financially, because of the cost of coaches. But we'll give Dale a shout out, the driver. He's done his best to get the cost down for us, which is a massive bonus there. So hopefully, we can get as many paying supporters on there as we can. 25 quid in reality for how far we're going. It's a good price there. So hopefully get a few more on. Just head to whitbytownfc.com and the club shop section there to book your seat, or just get in touch with us so we can sort something out. But the more the merrier, hopefully in that one.
I was going to say, you do well to get to the West Midlands for £25 any other way. And yes, looking ahead to that game, Paul caught up with the Whitby Town player manager, Gary Liddle, earlier on.
So Gary, a return to action this weekend for Whitby Town, and it doesn't really get a great deal tougher. Our last outing against Hebburn Town, who are up at the top end of the division, and this time around it's a trip to Hensford.
It's certainly been a while since we've last played, and it's not the first time that's happened in recent times because of the weather, which obviously can't be helped. These week and a half, 2 week breaks that we've had a couple of recently, they certainly don't help in terms of momentum and putting right the wrongs of previous games, which is what we aim to do. Obviously, our last game was Hebburn, which we fell on the wrong side of the result. But since then the games obviously have been called off. So it's been very stop-start, but it's been very, very stop, if you like. And we've kept the lads ticking over in terms of training, and we've kept them right in terms of the fitness levels, and all focus this week with Tuesday training just gone, and with tonight's training session. Not being afraid. I think that'll be my message. Going into the game. Of course, a huge team in the division, going well at the top end of the league. Huge budget, big players, but the type of game that I'd like to think my lads are excited for, and hopefully they're willing and able to show their own qualities in terms of matching that and matching the occasion that a game away to Hensford will bring. There'll be a big crowd on the day, but one that I'm hoping we can spring a surprise with.
Yeah, it's one of those, obviously, Gary, that you can take a little bit of heart as well from the reverse fixture at the Tobar Express Stadium at the Turnbull Ground. Obviously, Hensford travelled up on a Tuesday night, which is a long journey at any time, but particularly midweek. But on the evening, your Whitby side going toe to toe with them.
Yeah, and we'll certainly need all those qualities, and more in the reverse fixture on Saturday. Obviously, a real tough place to go. But a great evening for us on that evening. Whether I always said we probably caught Hensford at a very good time. Really, they had a couple of injuries. They hadn't won in a few games, and as you just mentioned there, they travelled up to us on a Tuesday night. But on the evening, I thought we were outstanding in ourselves as well. And all those aspects we'll have to do again and more, as I've just mentioned, to get anything from the game. But we'll go into it and we'll certainly give it a good shot. What the break's done, and as I've mentioned a few times before, what the break's done is to give the lads who've had niggles and had injuries or illnesses, is to give those lads time to rest and recover. And we're looking pretty strong personnel wise going into the weekend and the busy schedule that we've got coming up.
In terms of those injuries then, Gary, obviously last time out the big absentees against Hebburn were Shane Bland being the main one, but as well Sam Collins at left back. I mean, where are we at with those two first off?
Yeah, Shane was it was a good sight to see. He was back on the grass on Tuesday, doing some light work with Neil Ince, and it's just a case now of Neil building Blandy up really and getting confidence through his quad area. With every muscle injury that you have, whether you're a goalkeeper or an outfield player, it's just about making sure it's obviously healed, but just more getting that confidence through mentally and making sure that you're comfortable in terms of striking the ball, which is obviously a huge part of any goalkeeper's game. So we'll build Blandy up. I don't believe we've got a game midweek next week, so I think Blandy might have an eye on Ashton. If not, he'll certainly have two eyes on Gainsborough on the following Tuesday. With Colo's probably the one who'll be missing for another week or two. A little knee issue, but nothing long term. But I'd imagine he will be missing for the next 2 or 3 games, and then we'll see where we're after that. But he hasn't been training, just been getting treatment, and I think Colo and Ronnie are probably the only ones at the moment who are going to be, and Blandy obviously, who will be missing over the next couple of games.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at the table now, obviously, again, we mentioned the couple of weeks off. It's given a chance to sort of reshape the table a little bit, and that's left Whitby, I think it's 3 points above the drop zone going into the weekend. And it just sort of, it just puts that emphasis even more so now on getting points and getting to that sort of 45, 50 point mark, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And, I was speaking to people, over the last couple of days, and I think that what the break's done, obviously, as you've just mentioned, is it's give teams below us. I think we went into the break, in about mid-table position, but the congestion of the table is, and the fact that we haven't played it, is gave those teams below us a chance to sort of catch up. I think we have got 3 games in hand on teams. We've got 2 games in hand on others, but you have to win those games and get your points back on the board. And if you do that, then you're back where you originally were, back in mid-table. But yeah, the fact that the tables all of a sudden become really congested down at the bottom end certainly gives us that aim of needing points on the board sooner rather than later. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, what's the message to the squad? Obviously, when the situation changes like that, and then you're sort of going into these games now, knowing that you sort of need to get those points.
I think that you don't need to put too much pressure on it, and I know the pressure will come from looking at the table anyway. But it just putting added pressure on the lads is never going to be good. I think the more freedom we can give the lads, to go and play the game and play the football that we know they can play, that in itself will bring results. And we're in a very different place, quality wise and squad wise, to where we were last season. We just need to make sure that these games that we've got over this month alone, where we do play on a few Tuesdays, what's effectively gonna catch us up in terms of games in hand. We need to make sure we take points from those to put us in a more comfortable position than where we currently are.
And something we're sort of been focusing on this week on the Codcast and online is the club sort of academy set up now and the junior teams within the club. Obviously, it was mentioned that there was a few sort of the under 18s, under 19s or so training with the first team. One of those being a local lad in Jack Kilpatrick. Just first of all, how they've been in training.
Great, and I don't mind that when numbers are low through people needing rest or having little niggles where there's no point in training. These lads are there and willing, and more importantly, that they're good enough to step up. So as you've just mentioned, your Jack Kilpatricks, your Ben Riddles and Jack Conway, people like that who are young in age, but they certainly have the quality where they're not going to disrupt the quality of the session. And ideally, if we can get the points on the board that we need, especially in people like Jack Kilpatrick's case, who's a really good player, technically good, and he's fit. Physically he's a specimen, and he's got that bite to his game, and he's a Whitby lad as well. And if I can get the points on the board that we're needing, and I'm able to get people like that, in and around the squad, and get them a game, here and there, then I think that bodes well for the club, in terms of his future, because there is some real good players within that academy, and it's just about giving them a chance at the right time.
That's Gary Liddle speaking to Paul ahead of Saturday's game. Just maybe a week too early for the likes of Shane Bland, Ronnie McGrath, and also Sam Collins, Paul, which of course means it's another big test for the side against such strong opposition. Isaac Allen expected to play his second game on loan from Sunderland, and another big task really for what might be a slightly younger than usual team.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Obviously, Isaac Allen, we're fully expecting that he'll play. Obviously, as Lids mentioned in his interview, Blandy's probably looking Ashton, and if not Ashton, then Gainsborough. So we are sort of expecting that he'll play at least this game and maybe another in his loan spell. I think the good thing from his point of view is the fact that he won't be going in cold. The rest might be, but he won't be. He played for Sunderland's under-21s on Sunday, I think it was, against Leicester City's under-21. So he has got minutes in the bank in that respect as well. So he won't be going into that game cold. He'll be going into it, ready to go and match fit. I think the thing is now is obviously getting players ready themselves. 2 weeks is a long time without football, and as again referencing what Lid said, it's been less of a stop-start sort of 6 to 8 weeks and more of a just a stop one. We seem to play 1 game, 2 games, and then we're back to square one again, and we have a couple of weeks off. So yeah, we've got to be going into it a little bit cold. Obviously, Aaron Haswell will deputise at left back, we expect again. He's competent enough in that respect. He'll come in, he'll do a job anywhere on the field, and he's a good sort of stand-in to have across 3 or 4 positions for Whitby. So he'll probably come into the side and he'll do okay, I'm sure. But yeah, obviously we look at it and there will be a few sort of the younger members of the squad in there. But look, they're the ones that have played the full season as well. So ultimately, if Gary Liddle didn't think they were good enough, they wouldn't be here and they wouldn't be playing the football here.
Indeed. Let's change tack a little bit. It's been a very successful season so far for our Scholars side. They've been, racking up upset after upset. Sunderland put to the sword, and Newcastle United put to the sword this week as well as they go top of the National Youth League. Let's have a catch up with our Academy lead, Gareth Robinson.
So what we do is we train on a Monday and Tuesday. They play on the Wednesday representing the college and Whitby Town Football Club. And some of them lads took the option to represent us on a weekend too. Quite a lot of them chose that option. So they train Monday, Tuesday, play the college league on a Wednesday, train Friday, and then represent our lads in the Durham League, under-18s league, on a Saturday. The college teams are absolutely flying. Both teams are unbeaten, under-18s, under-19s. Under-19s have beat two teams now that are 2 divisions above them, so they're absolutely flying, doing really, really well. And our under-18s as well. Just a notable one, Joseph Townsend got picked up by Whitby Town just off the back of playing college football on a Wednesday. Obviously Tommy Dowson's in there as well, so that's really good. Our Saturday teams are doing really well. Our under-17s in particular, I mean, they beat our under-18s not long ago. Just to give you a bit of context on that, our under-17s are made up of like 12, 13 year 11s, and our under-18s are made up of college students, so they've done really well to win that game. There's a lot of talent in there. But to be fair to the under-18s, they've been hampered with. It's a positive, but on the other side, it's quite negative because we don't have our best players on a regular basis. So our under-18s players, we're all playing Northern League football. With Tommy Dowson playing for Gisborough. Then you got Joseph Townsend, who's also involved with that, and then you have lads that Finn McKittrick's at Mask, Ben Riddell's been involved a little bit. So yeah, it's just when you got them lads playing Northern League football, you're never full strength. It's a positive, but also a negative at the same time. But it's what we signed up for, really. So yeah, they're all doing really well. Most importantly, we've got a few lads going down to first team training. So we've had Jack Conwell and Frankie Alderson go down on a regular on a Thursday, and then we've had Jack Kilpatrick and Ben Riddell go down on Tuesdays. So they're mingling quite well with the first team. Obviously gives them good experience. So it's going really well. A lot of lads training with the first team. And then, the boys are absolutely flying with the teams, college in particular. Bodes well for the future. So there's the update. Thanks, lads.
That's Gareth Robinson speaking earlier on this week. Liam, and I'm not just coming to you because Newcastle got beat, don't worry. It's been a tremendous season, really, for some of our young players.
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, we had the sort of introduction to the under-18s last season, and fair play to them. They did well, finishing the top half of the Durham FA League there, and then bringing the 17s in. They were perhaps having a bit of a struggle, but it's a new team. It's a young group playing against players sort of 2, 3, sometimes even 3 years older than them. So they'll come with it with age, I'm sure. But yeah, the scholarship side in particular, the under 19s to start with, absolutely flying in their league. Like you mentioned, the teams that they're beating are these Sunderland teams and the Newcastle teams, and there's one from Middlesbrough as well, I believe. That obviously the part of the clubs, different various youth levels. These teams have multiple youth sides amongst their ranks, but to be beaten of it, it's good PR for us as a club, of course, seeing your team beat those sides and as well in the cup competitions. The run they've had there, again, just going on sort of the thing about multiple sides. The Sunderland team, they beat in the National Youth League Cup the other week. That one there, I believe it was a side that played 2 divisions higher than them. So yeah, they've been pulling off quite a few upsets, and I know they're having a decent run at that. Need to actually work out who they've got next, but I'm sure it'll be another exciting tie for them. But yeah, I think his first season's good. You can't ask for much more, can you? Where you're all new to it, and just great to see them doing so well, because of course it's not just the football; it's their education is alongside as well. So it's great for them, and then you obviously look at the other bits where we've got a few players now getting recognised more nationally and getting trials at clubs. I know, there's a Blackburn Rovers. There's one. Gareth actually just messaged me about Shannon Agada, who I know that me and you were impressed with, Goose, when I went up to Newcastle Blue Star. He's having a trial at Middlesbrough now. So, players are getting out there and getting noticed. And as much as you want them to sort of break into Whitby's first team, if they can almost bypass the non-league stage and get picked up by professional clubs straight away, then, fair play to them on that. So, pros and cons on that front, I think. But yeah, it's really, really good to see how well it's taken off this year.
Absolutely. I think a real feather in the cap to everybody involved there. And it, as you said, puts Whitby Town on the map somewhat. And also it's a link up with Middlesbrough College, Paul, but also there are some local lads involved. There's some Whitby lads doing well there, isn't there?
Yeah, there certainly is. Obviously, I think the success story really so far has been Tommy Dowse, and obviously he's part of that setup, but he's playing regular first team football, men's football. I think he's 17 years old, and he's playing a pivotal part in the middle of the park for a Gisborough Town team aiming for promotion to the division below Whitby Town. So that's a fantastic sort of feather in the cap for the whole setup and everything like that. And for Whitby Town Football Club, we've got a young player from the area, from just up at Danby, who's part of that and proving to be a real success. We saw a little bit of him in pre-season against Gisborough Town. Funnily enough, he did well, and that was sort of enough for Nathan Haslam to take a chance and take him up there. And he's played, the majority of the minutes. He's got his first senior goal and got it against Scarborough. I mean, for a lad from sort of the Whitby area, what better way to score your first senior goal than that? That's a great sort of that's a great one for him. But obviously, there's other local lads in there. Jack Kilpatrick, one that we mentioned in Gary Liddle's interview there, that's training with the first team. You very often see his name on the score sheet, doing really well. And that there might be a chance that should we, get a few more wins on the board and get ourselves somewhere near safe, that we do start to see the likes of Jack Kilpatrick, Tommy Dowse, and potentially coming into the first team fold at Whitby Town. That's something that certainly Gary Liddle wants. It's something the football club wants, and I know it'd be something that the lads will want as well. And a shout out for Zane Swales as well, of course, the son of former Whitby fullback, former Scarborough, Redley, Hull City fullback Stephen Swales. Good to see him on the score sheet in midweek as well for the under-19 scholarship team. And good to see him doing really well as well, because he's good lad, is Zane, and he's certainly got the footballing genes in the family. So yeah, really, really good to see a number of local lads. I'm sure there's more as well. So I do apologise to ones that I haven't mentioned, but yeah, just from those three straight away, really great to see them doing well, and just great to see that scholarship set up and that sort of academy set up really, really sort of thrive, because it's been a long time coming for the football club.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen to that. And on that positive note, Liam, we're going to, as always, end the podcast with Booster Budget.
Yeah, well, I think now we've kind of got to the stage of the season where we're sort of planning ahead for the next one now, really, aren't we? Because I know at some point in March that eventually that, not transfer window, but it'll slam shut in terms of what we can, who can come into the club and things like that. But yeah, as per usual, the best place to do it is just make a direct debit pledge via the club website, whitbytownfc.com, and the club shop section. Or if you look on a desktop, it's at the top on the banner. If you go on your phone, there's like the menu section there, and there's a link to take you straight to it. But yeah, you can pick a donation amount on there, which gets taken monthly. Or if you want to just get in touch with us, we can direct you in the right direction to put just a one-off donation or a pledge, like something, per clean sheet or per goal scored or something like that. Get in touch with us and we'll get that sorted as well. But yeah, a good amount in the pot, I'm sure now. And yeah, we may be able to put it to use in the next sort of month or so if required. But if not, I'm sure it'd be nice to have a decent pot there going into the 26-27 season.
Absolutely, yeah. So just a reminder, Saturday, Whitby Town return to action in the West Midlands. Down in Staffordshire, it's Hensford Town away. If you do want to be on that supporters coach, do get in touch with the club through the usual routes. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff. If you can't make it, we have got live commentary with Liam, Paul and the rest of the media team at This Is the Coast Extra, and then back in action at home the following week for Ashton United. As always, Paul, Liam, thank you very much for joining me, and to also our guests as well, our interviewees, Gareth Robinson, Nathan McGinley and the Blues player boss, Gary Liddle. Thank you to you for listening, and we'll be back next week with another Codcast. Bye for now.